Hello, myself Vitthal Argade. Today we're going to discuss about the textbook MCQs and problems from the chapter 2nd Mechanical Properties of Fluids in 12th standard. Let us start from the first textbook MCQ. In this MCQ, there is a hydraulic lift which is designed to lift heavy objects of maximum mass 2000 kg. The area of cross section of piston carrying the load is 2.25 into 10 raised to minus 2 meters square. In these two sentences, first they given the maximum mass to be lifted, that is 2000 kg. The area of cross section on which this mass is kept is 2.25 into 10 raised to minus 2 meters square. And we have to find out the maximum pressure the smaller piston would have to bear. The example is on the hydraulic lift, which is based on the Pascal's law. According to Pascal's law, the input pressure and the output pressure, it is equal. And because of this, we write the formula for input pressure, that is P1 is equal to P2, it is equal to mg upon A2. M is given 2000, the value of G acceleration due to gravity 9.8, and the area of cross section is also given 2.25 into 10 raised to minus 2. If we solve this, or you get the answer as a 0.8711 into 10 raised to 6 Newton per meter square. Here it is not necessary to calculate all these with the log or calculator. Just you can calculate this orally. And if we use the approximate values, that is instead of 9.8 you can use a 10, and from this you can easily find out the answer. Means the answer is A 0.8711 into 10 raised to 6 Newton per meter square. Now the next MCQ. The two capillary tubes of radii 0.3 and 0.6 centimeter. The radii of the two capillaries are given. The first one whose radii is 0.3 centimeter and second one it is 0.6 centimeter. And we have to find out the ratio of heights through which the liquid rises in the tube. The rise of liquid, it is given by the formula surface tension T equals to RGH rho divided by 2 cos theta, it is equal to constant. For both the capillaries, as the liquid is the same, the surface tension is a constant for the two cases. In this formula, the rho, it is constant, G constant, cos theta angle of contact, it is for the given capillary tube, and the liquid, it is constant. All these terms are constant, and because of this one should write RH equals to constant. From this relation RH equals to constant for the given cases, you can write R1 H1 it is equal to R2 H2. From that you get the relation H1 by H2 it is equal to R2 by R1. Just substitute the values of radius R2 and R1, 0.6 divided by 0.3, you get the ratio as a 2:1, and because of this the answer is B, 2:1. Let us move to the third MCQ, that the energy stored in a soap bubble of diameter 6 centimeter and T equals to 0.04 Newton per meter is nearly. We have to find out here the energy stored, that is the surface energy, and the given the soap bubble whose diameter is 6 centimeter and the surface tension, that is 0.04 Newton per meter. The energy stored, it is the work done, and it is given by the formula TDA. Here dA means the increase in area. To form the soap bubble, the increase in area, it is 8 pi r square. Here we have to take the double area because the soap bubble has two surfaces, that is the inner and the outer. From this formula you get the relation as a 2t pi d square. Instead of 4r square, one can substitute a d square, and because of this the formula can be written in terms of diameter as twice t pi d square. If we substitute the values of t, pi, and d square, here also you can calculate approximately 6 square, that is a 36, near about 40. 40 into 4, 4, 4, 16, 16 into 2, 32, 32 into 3, that is 3 into 3, it is near about 9, and because of this the answer is a 0.9 into 10 raised to minus 3 joule. In case of MCQs, you should try for the approximate calculations. To calculate the approximate value, you should take the um, round of figures for the calculation. You can easily get the answer. Okay, the answer is a zero point 0.9 into 10 raised to minus 3. Now the next MCQ, fourth number. Two hailstones with a radii in the ratio of 1:4 fall from a great height through the atmosphere. Here two stones are fall in a medium of atmosphere, means atmosphere, it is the viscous medium in which the two stones falls from the great height. Here we have to find out the terminal velocities. You know the relation for terminal velocity, 2 by 9 r square g in bracket rho minus sigma divided by eta. Here r the radius of the sphere. Here sphere, it is the air bubble. Sorry, here the stones, and g the acceleration due to gravity, rho the density of these stones, sigma the density of the atmosphere, that is the medium, and eta, it is the viscosity, coefficient of viscosity. For these given two stones, this rho, sigma, eta, g, all these are constant, and because of this, one can write the relation between the terminal velocity and the radius of the stone or the sphere. It is a phase directly proportional to r square. From proportionality, you can easily find out the ratio between v1 and v2. This ratio v1 by v2, it is r1 by r2 bracket square. You can substitute easily the ratio r1 and r2 as a 1:4. If we square it, you get the answer 1:60. Because of this, the answer is c, 1:60. Now the next MCQ, that is the fifth MCQ. In Bernoulli's theorem, which of the following is conserved? In case of Bernoulli's theorem, we know that there is a conservation of energy, because in this case, in the case of Bernoulli's equation, we write the pressure energy plus the kinetic energy per unit volume, uh, and the potential energy per unit volume. The summation of all these energies, it is a constant for the given flow. uh, from our textbook, they said that the work done per unit volume of a fluid by the surrounding fluid is equal to the sum of the change in kinetic energy and the potential energy. It is the same as that of the work energy theorem, and means it is in accordance with the principle of conservation of energy. And because of this, the answer for this MCQ, it is a D. That is, it is in accordance with the energy conservation. Okay. Now next to this, we move to the problems. Textbook sums. The first sum, it is the find the pressure 200 meter below 200 meter below the surface of the ocean, if the pressure on the free surface of liquid is 1 atmosphere. In this case, we have to find out the pressure at the height 200 meter below the free surface. Here the pressure over the free surface, it is the atmospheric pressure, and 1 atmosphere, it is equal to 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. Therefore P0, it is equal to 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. They also given the density of sea water, that is rho, and it is equal to 1060 kilogram per meter cube. Okay. For to find out the pressure, we have to use the pressure due to the liquid column. The equation is it is P is equal to P0 plus H rho g. In this case, you can easily substitute the values, because all terms are given in the data. P0 10 raised to 5, H to 100, rho 10, 60, and the g acceleration due to gravity 9.8. Here, the bracket calculation, you should use the log tables, and using log table you can easily calculate the bracket, and the value of bracket, it is equal to 20.77 into 10 raised to 5. Okay, if we add this 20.77 into 10 raised to 5 into 10 raised to 5, you get the value as a 21.77 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. The answer for the pressure just 200 meter below the surface of the ocean, it is a 21.77 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. Let's move to the next problem, that is 11th number. In a hydraulic lift, the input piston had a surface area 30 centimeters square. We denote it as a A1, 30 centimeters square. One should convert it into meters square, that is 30 into 10 raised to minus 4 meters square. The output piston has a surface area 1500 centimeters square, and it is in SI unit, it is equal to 1500 into 10 raised to minus 4 meters square. Here input force which is used at the input piston, it is given 25 Newton, and we have to find out the weight which can be lifted at the output piston, that is the F2. Here also we use the uh, Pascal's law, and according to Pascal's law, P1 is equal to P2. But the pressure, it is the force per unit area, and because of this, from the relation for Pascal's law, you can write the F2 as a A2 by A1 into F1. Here all the quantities are given, and you can substitute here to get the value of F2. Here the calculation is a very simple. 10 raised to minus 4, 10 raised to minus 4 cancels out, 0 0 cancels out, you get in bracket only 50, and 50 into 25, you get 1250 Newton. That means if we apply the 25 Newton at the input piston, you can easily lift the weight of 1250 Newton at the output piston. Next, 12th example. Calculate the viscous force acting on a raindrop. Fe we have to calculate, whose diameter is 1 mm. You can find out the radius from this diameter as a 0.5 mm. As all other quantities are given in a SI system, one should write a radius also in SI system as a 0.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter. Here the uniform velocity, it is falling with a uniform velocity, that is it gives the value of terminal velocity 2 meter per second through air. The coefficient of viscosity for air, it is also given eta 1.8 into 10 raised to 5 Newton second per meter square. Now to determine this viscous force, one should use the uh, Stokes formula, that is Fv, it is equal to 6 pi eta Rv. From this relation, you can write easily the viscous force. All the quantities are given. We just substitute these quantities in the given formula, and calculate the value of Fv. To simplify this, here we use to calculate the 0.5 into 2, that is 1, and 1.8 into 6, that is a 10.8, means and 10 raised to 4 minus 5 and 10 raised to minus 3, you get 10 raised to minus 8, means 10.8 into 3.142 into 10 raised to minus 8. Uh, from this you get the value of Fe. Here you should use the log table, log of 10.8 and log of 3.142. These are given in the table. We have to add these two logs to get the final log, and from this final log, if we see the anti-log, you get the value for Fe as 33.94 into 10 raised to minus 8 Newton. Okay. Next to this, the example number 13. A horizontal force of 1 Newton is required to move a metal plate of area 10 raised to minus 2 meters square with a velocity. Here, horizontal force, that is F, it is equal to 1 Newton. The metal plate has area. We write A as a 10 raised to minus 2 meters square with a velocity. 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter per second. This horizontal plate is rest on the layer of oil whose thickness is 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter. Means here the upper layer of this layer of oil, it is moving with 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter per second, while the lower layer of the oil, it is at rest. Means the change in velocity, it is 2 into 10 raised to minus 2 over the thickness of this layer of oil, 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter. Means this velocity, it is the change in velocity, and the thickness of the layer, it is the dx. From these values, you can easily find out the coefficient of viscosity using this Newton's formula, that is n equals to eta is equal to f upon a dv by dx. Here dv by dx, it is the velocity gradient. If we use the values for f, area, and dv by dx, you can easily calculate. This calculation is a very simple one. You can orally do it. Just take the 1.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 in a numerator, and cancels out the powers of 10 to get the final answer. 1.5 divided by 2, you get 0.75, and the power of 10, that is 1. The multiplication gives you the final answer as 7.5 Newton second per meter square. Now the next, you get the answer as a 7.5 Newton second per meter square. Now the next 14th example, that is with what terminal velocity? We have to find out. Air bubble 0.4 mm in diameter. The diameter is given 0.4 mm. From that, you can calculate the radius as 0.2 mm. It is which can be written in SI system as a 0.2 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter. Okay. Now in the second sentence, they given the liquid of viscosity 0.1 Newton second per meter square, that is the viscosity is given, and the specific gravity 0.9, the specific gravity of the liquid through which this air bubble can move, it is the 0.9. The density of air 1.29 kilogram per meter cube, it is rho, and we have to find out the terminal velocity, or the velocity with which the air bubble can move through this liquid. Okay. Now to find out this terminal velocity, we have to use the expression for terminal velocity in which both the densities must be known to us, that is the density of the air bubble and the density of the liquid. But instead of density, they given the specific gravity, and from this specific gravity of the liquid, one should find out the first, that is the density of the liquid. And the specific gravity of the liquid, it is the uh, density of the liquid with respect to water, means sigma divided by rho for water. Therefore rho becomes a specific gravity into liquid, that is into rho for water. We use here the rho for water as a 10 raised to 3 kilogram per meter cube. The specific gravity is 0.9, and hence you get the value for sigma, that is the density for the liquid, it is a 900 kilogram per meter cube. Now just use the expression for terminal velocity as v is, it is equal to 2 by 9 r square g rho minus sigma divided by eta. Just substitute all the values, you get 2 by 9 into in bracket 2 into 10 raised to minus 3, the bracket square, the value of g as a 9.8, rho 1.29, the density of air bubble. In the expression, we use the density of a sphere. Here the sphere, instead of sphere, we consider the air bubble, and hence we take the density of air bubble as a rho 1.29, and this air bubble, it is moving through the air, the through the liquid whose density is 900 kilogram per meter cube. To calculate all these, just we first multiply 9 into 0.9, 0.1, you get 0.9 in the denominator. 9.8 into 2 into zero point 0.2 zero point 2 into 2, that is a zero point 4 into 9.8, you get the 0.784. And the subtraction from 1.29 minus 900, it is a minus 898.7. Okay, here also you can easily divide this 0.784 by zero point 0.9 orally. You get the answer 0.871 into 10 raised to minus 6, and in bracket the negative value 898.7. Now this calculation you can do with the help of the log table. Just see the log of these two figures and add them to get the final log. The anti-log of this, you get the final answer as a 2780 to 782.7 into 10 raised to minus 6, or it is equal to minus 0.7827 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter per second. Here we get the value for this velocity as a minus or negative value, because the air bubble, it is floating in the liquid and it moves in the upward direction. Because of this, we get the negative value. Okay, the next problem, that is a 15th number. The speed of water is a 2 meter per second through a pipe of internal diameter 10 centimeter. Speed of water, that is v1, is given 2 meter per second. The internal diameter of this pipe is a 10 centimeter. We write d1 as a 10 centimeter. It is a 10 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter. Okay, what should be the internal diameter of the nozzle? There is a nozzle to this pipe at the end, whose diameter is small as compared to the pipe, and the water flows through this nozzle with the velocity 4 meter per second. Means here v2 is given, and we have to find out the diameter of the nozzle. D2 is to be determined. Here as the water is flowing through the pipe, we know that it follows the equation of continuity, that is a1 v1, it is equal to a2 v2. Means area of cross section and velocity, the product, it is always constant for the given pipe or for the given flow. From this relation, you can write the expression as a pi r1 square into v1 is equal to pi r2 square into v2. A1 and A2, these are the cross sectional areas, and the cross sectional area, we write it as a area of the circle. Now in terms of diameter, the same relation, pi pi gets cancelled, d1 square v1, it is equal to d2 square v2. From this you get the expression for d2, which is to be calculated d1 under root of v1 by v2. Just substitute the values for d1, v1 and v2. You can easily calculate the value of d2. 2 by 4 in square root, it is 1 by 4. 1 by 2, it is 0.5. And if we multiply this 10 with 0.5, you get a root of 50 into 10 raised to minus 2, and a root of 50, it is a 7.071 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter. Here we get the diameter of the nozzle 7.071 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter. Okay, now the next problem, that is the 16th number. With what velocity does water flow out of an orifice? We have to find out the velocity of the efflux, which is flowing through this orifice. With a gauge pressure 4 into 10 raised to minus 5 Newton per meter square. Gauge pressure, that is P minus P0, it is given 4 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. Before the flow starts, this is the gauge pressure, and the density is given 1000 kilogram per meter cube. Here we have to find out the velocity of the efflux, and according to the Torres-Lee's law, we know that the velocity as under root of twice gh. H means the height of this what liquid level above the orifice. Here instead of giving they given the instead of height, they given the gauge pressure, and from this gauge pressure you can easily determine the height from this relation P minus P0, it is equal to rho gh. It is the relation written from the pressure exerted by the liquid column, and from this relation you get the H as gauge pressure divided by rho g. If we substitute this value of H in this relation for velocity, you get under root of twice g p minus p0 divided by rho g. G gets cancelled, and the final formula for velocity as twice into gauge pressure divided by rho. Just substitute the value for gauge pressure and the rho in this relation. You get the velocity 2 into 10, 2 into 4 into 10 raised to 5 divided by 1000. You get the square root of 800. And the calculation is quite simple. You can do it orally, and this square root you can easily determine from the square root table. It is at 28.28 meter per second. Okay, this gives the answer for the velocity of the flux which is flowing through the orifice. Next, the problem number 17. The pressure of water inside the closed pipe is 3 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. This pressure reduces to 5 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. That is the P1 is given. And when we measure the first pressure P1, pipe is closed, means there is a no flow of water, and because of this the velocity is V1, it is equal to 0. The second in second case the pressure is 2 into 10 raised to 5. And when we open the wall, we have to find out the speed of the water flowing through the pipe, where the density is given 1000 kilogram per meter cube. Here we use the Bernoulli's theorem. From Bernoulli's theorem, the input the energy at the first place, it is equal to the energy at the second place in case of the flow. The total energy, that is the pressure energy, kinetic energy per unit volume, potential energy per unit volume, it is constant. This gives the Bernoulli's theorem equation. Here as V1 is a 0, the second term on the LHS gets cancelled, and rho g h1 and rho g h2, as the pipe is at the same horizontal level. In the two cases, these two terms are equal. These two terms cancels with each other. As a V1 is 0, this second term gets also cancelled. From rearranging the equation and cancel out the remaining terms, you get P1 minus P2, it is equal to 1 half rho V2 square. From that, you can write the relation for V2 square as a twice into bracket P1 minus P2 and divided by rho. Or V2, we substitute the values for P1 minus P2 and rho. Here also the calculation is quite simple. You can easily do it and find the value as under root of 2 into 10 raised to minus 2. If we take outside the square root of 10 raised to 2, you get only 10, and the square root of 2, it is 1.414 into 10, that is at 14.14 meter per second. This gives you the value for this velocity, which velocity of the water flow through the pipe. Okay, now the next problem, that is the calculate the rise of water inside a clean glass capillary tube H to be calculated. The radius is given 0.1 mm. One should write in SI system 0.1 into 10 raised to minus 3. When immersed in a water of surface tension is given 7 into 10 raised to minus 2 Newton per meter. The angle of contact between water and glass, it is a 0, theta it is equal to 0, and density of water 1000 kilogram per meter cube, and g, the acceleration due to gravity, 9.8 meter per second square. Okay, we have to find out here the rise of water, and the rise of water we already derived the relation as h equals to 2t cos theta upon r g rho. All the quantities are given to us from this data or in the problem. We substitute here 2 into 7 into 10 raised to minus 2 cos 0.1 into 10 raised to minus 3 into 9.8 into 1000 cos 0, the value is 1. 2 into 7, it is a 14. 9.8 into 0.1, it is a 0.98, and the remaining power of 10s cancels with each other, and we get the value as 0.14 divided by 0.98. Just use the log table. 0.14, the log is bar 1 1461, and log of 0.98, and just take the subtraction and find out the anti-log h. We get the value of h as a 0.1429 meter. Okay, you get the value for the rise of water inside the capillary. Now the next 19, an air bubble of radius 0.2 mm is situated just below the water surface. We have to calculate the gauge pressure. The air bubble has a radius 0.2 mm, capital R is given. It is just kept in the water, just below the surface of water. We have to find out the gauge pressure, means the pressure difference between the pressure inside the bubble and outside the bubble, pi minus p0, that is the excess pressure here we have to find out. And the surface tension is given 7.2 into 10 raised to minus 2 newton per meter. The excess pressure p, it is equal to pi minus p0 for the bubble, air bubble. It is a 2t upon r. Okay, 2t, the value of t we substitute here, the value of r. Here also the calculation is very simple. 0.22 cancels out, you get 0.1 in the denominator. By calculation you get the 720 newton per meter square. The answer is not matched with the answer given in the textbook. Just 1 0 is less here. Just you have to correct it. Okay, and now the problem number 20. 27 droplets of water, each of radius 0.1 mm. We denote 27 as a number of droplets, small droplets, whose radius as a small r, 0.1 mm. Write it in a SI system. When all these droplets coalesces into a single drop, there is a change in surface energy. We have to find out this change in surface energy if the surface tension of the water is 0.072, means change in surface energy we have to calculate here, means dw is to be calculated, and for that we know the relation tda. Here the T is the surface tension, and dA, it is the change in surface area. When the number of droplets are coalesces into a single droplet, the area decreases. Means we have to find out the dA, change in surface area. We have to subtract the initial area into the final area. The initial area is 4 pi r square for each droplet. There are n number of droplets, and because of this, the total area is 4 pi n r square, and the final a single drop is formed whose surface area is 4 pi r square. Just subtract these two. In the given data, we observe that the small r is given, but the capital R is not given, and that capital R can be calculated by equating the volume of the given liquid, because there is no change in the volume. 27 droplets are coalesces into a single droplet. Okay, means there is no change in volume. Just equal the volume in initial stage and final stage. You get the relation between this capital R and small r. From that relation, you get the R, it is equal to thrice R. Okay, substitute this value of a capital R in the relation. You get delta AC, a change in surface energy, as 4 pi t into bracket n r square minus 9 r square. Just substitute the value of capital N, take r square outside. You get 29 minus 27 minus 9, that is the 18, into 4, that is the 72 pi t r square. Now substitute the value of pi t and r square. You get the relation like this. Just use the log tables and calculate the log, anti-log. The value is 16.25 into 10 raised to minus 8 joule. Okay, this gives you the change in surface energy. Here we stop the meeting and